Hi. I didn't want to put my story on this website. I didn't want to have the thoughts and images of my abuse in my mind yet again, though they never really are very far from the surface. I didn't want to have all of you see those images in your own minds. I want to be the person who I am now and not remember the girl who I was then. I want to be known for all that I've accomplished in the world, for all the good parts of me, for all that I've done to become who I am now. I didn't want you to know me for something that happened to me, rather than for something that I did and chose for myself. I've been thinking, though, since one more survivor has come forward and is hearing her name taken in vain by those who have never been through what she had to endure, I've been thinking that I needed to say something yet again. So, here it is. I was abused, not once, but over a period of years, by a priest in the Steubenville Diocese. My abuse was reported, but nothing was done to stop it. My abuse was reported at the time while I was being abused. My abuse was reported more than one time by more than one person. Finally, it was reported by someone with more power, and the priest was sent to yet another parish in the Steubenville Diocese. Those people, those families, were not warned. In fact, when I look at the parish's history, it's impossible not to notice that a number of known abusive priests were sent there. Was that your parish? Don't you have a right to know? This is a picture of the Ohio River taken recently from a spot where my grandpa had his garden. I used to fish right there as a kid. That river flows through Steubenville. It flows down through many small towns, including my own hometown. It flows through Marietta. It was once dangerous and polluted, but it's been cleaned up because people fought to have it cleaned up. Not everyone wanted it cleaned up, you know. But still, after much hard work, the river is now cleaner. We used to see a lot of things floating down that river. Dead things, ugly things. And a lot of evil happened to children in the small towns along the river. Now some of us are fighting for that to be cleaned up, not just covered up. For any cleanup, responsibility must be taken. Someone must say, we are responsible for the hurt that happened, for our neglect of those who needed to be protected. Stage 1 of my story argues against the normal things that I hear people saying when I listen to Catholics. People say, why'd you wait all these years to come forward? Well, my abuse was reported. Nobody waited all those years. That didn't do any good, did it? The next children in the next parish were still endangered. And then another parish, and then another. I went to the Diocese of Steubenville when the next bishop came and reported my abuse again. This time I was an adult. They knew it had happened and admitted it. The priest admitted it too. The bishop told me that the priest had said he loved me. The bishop said that with tears in his eyes, as if it was a good reason for my abuse. Let me ask you this. A man who is a teacher and a priest uses a girl 27 years younger than him as an object to gratify his sexual desires. You tell me, is that love? So, stage 2, I report my abuse again, and stage 3, they find my abuse to be credible. They tell me that they will help me, but they leave him in yet another parish. What year do you think that was? 2002? Nope. This was in the 1980s. Lots of abuse was reported then. It just never made the press, though my story actually did. And still, Bishop Conlon has not put his name on the list on the diocesan website. Here's another thing. Wouldn't you expect that all the priest names would be listed on the Steubenville website as an abuser? I would. A man who works for the Ohio bishops told the Columbus Dispatch that the abusers were already listed on the diocesan website. But that wasn't true, was it? Look, see what you find. Just a few names. And the only names there are the ones that survivors and their families have gone through hell pushing and pushing and pushing to get there. I went and stood outside of a Steubenville church with other survivors 2 years ago and passed out information since Bishop Conlon hadn't listed those names. I was afraid. I was shaking. I didn't want to go, but I went. I felt shame for people to picture in their minds what happened to me, but I knew that I had to do it, or other children would be hurt. a man came up and shouted at me. He called me a baby killer. I was so shocked. Who was the baby killer? Why did he call me that? I wasn't the one who hurt children. The priest who abused me hurt children. Why are always people attacking us instead of the people who hurt us in the first place? Why do people shout at us and embrace the men who used us as objects while pretending to be good men? Don't people know how terrified we were then? How terrifying it is even now to speak out? Bishop Conlon wants to build a cathedral. I want something different. I want for the Diocese of Steubenville to remember that a church is not the bishop and the priests, and that they are not the ones to be protected. It is also the children and the old people and those who have no power and can be used and thrown away because they don't have a voice. I want Bishop Conlon to publish the real list of the real names of the priests who've used children and the vulnerable as objects in the Diocese of Steubenville since it was formed in 1949. I have been asking for that for decades now. Abuse happened to me for years, a long time ago. I feel the abuse a million times when lies are told and Catholics accuse the abused of just wanting money. I feel the abuse again and again when people say that we should have come forward then. I feel the abuse again and again when I see others treated like they are guilty and abusers like they are innocent. Who will stand for those who have no voice? Will you? I will not tell you the name of the priest who abused me because I have said his name over and over, and yet Bishop Conlon has never put him on the list. I asked that Bishop Daniel Conlon put the name of every abuser up on the website so that people know who these men are. If they were removed from parishes after Dallas, it is the next logical step for Bishop Conlon to do what we were taught as children. Admit the wrong, make a firm purpose of amendment, and do not keep repeating the same evil again and again. The evil of the action and hiding the action so that others can be hurt. It is time to change the world. It is time to stop the war on children. It is time to clean up not just the river, but the evil that happened along the river, to take responsibility and to reach out to those who were hurt along the way.